Hi, I'm Stephanie Neal, and welcome to Take 5 with OEM Magazine. Today I'm going to talk about two topics. One is a mega trend around reshoring, and the other is something that OEMs are very familiar with, and that's remote management. But there's a new twist on the technology, and I want to tell you about that, which I will later on in the segment. But first, let's talk about reshoring. Of course, this has been talked about for years. But I think it's just human nature that we don't do things until we're forced to do it. And the force was the pandemic. Suddenly, we didn't have any materials or components or parts or PPE or toilet paper. And all of a sudden, manufacturers were talking about bringing production back to the US and partnering with people who are here, or at least on the same continent. So whether it's Canada or Mexico, making sure that there's a nearshoring effort and we are not depending on partners that are an ocean away. Of course, there's still problems with reshoring around regulations and corporate taxes and the lack of skill set. So many of these manufacturers are looking to technology to solve those problems, disruptive technology like artificial intelligence and machine learning and 3D printing and cloud computing. And in the spring issue of OEM Magazine, we dive into this a little bit more, and we look at two companies that are actually looking at these technologies and setting up shop here in the US. The first one is a company called Intrepid Protect. It's a California-based startup, and they built a facility in Los Angeles in 2020. And their sole purpose is to make PPE. And they're using artificial intelligence and machine learning, first for quality control of the product, but also for predictive maintenance of the machines. The other company is called Argonaut Manufacturing Services, and they are a contract manufacturer for the life sciences and the biopharma industry. And they're making the COVID-19 test kits, the swab that goes into the liquid and that preserves it. And they have to do the filling and the packaging. And they needed a quick way to ramp up production here in the US. So they turned to a startup company called Bright Machines, which has a product called Microfactory. Microfactory uses intelligent software and advanced hardware and machine learning and artificial intelligence and cloud computing and robotics. All of those things are brought together in a common interface. So it's very easy to start up, and it's very easy to scale. In fact, the executives at Bright Machines told me that they are automating automation, so it doesn't get any easier than that. So what does this mean to you? It means that you have to start thinking outside the box and looking at other technologies and being creative about how you cater to your customers and the services that you provide. And that brings me to my next point about remote management. You give a technician a smartphone and a camera, and they can start streaming images to an expert offsite. The problem is that the expert offsite can only see what that technician sees in their line of sight. German company Adtance came up with a new product called Fieldstreaming, and it's basically a kit of cameras, power supply, internet connection, but it can work with any camera that you have on site, whether it's your computer camera or your smartphone or a security camera or a drone or even an underwater remote vehicle that has a camera. All of this can be streamed into a single interface so that the offsite expert can look at what's going on holistically. And the folks over at Adtance told me that, yes, they did develop this because of COVID-19, but a lot of their customers were asking for this beforehand because machinery is just getting way too complex and sophisticated, and they just don't have the field technicians with the skill set that can maintain that. And so they need help and they need a holistic view. The platform also supports messages, documents, recordings, digital whiteboarding, live video chat, and it also supports translation for 147 different languages. And that is so important in today's global economy. This is a single point of connection that is perfect for virtual FATs, for training, for remote management, for customer service, and it's something that OEMs need to be thinking about. So if you want to learn more about the Adtance technology, go to oemmagazine.org and click on that link and you can read all about it.